I mean, deity, I last till the end of the game. Some people, they can't even last that long. I mean, I played a game a couple minutes ago, before I was recording, and actually what happened is I was the Greeks, because I like to change it up every now and then. I will usually play as the Romans, which the reason for that is because the day I got Civilization Revolution, I was actually playing Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, and it's in Rome. So I was like, oh, let's be Rome, because I'm in the mood for that. So I was Rome, and the one thing that I'll do is I'll play as either Rome, France, because France starts out with a cathedral, and so they have loads of culture, and the Greeks, because they start out with a courthouse, and like their own version of pikemen, which I can use to defend myself in case I need to go to war, and the courthouse I can use to get more science by simply getting next to an ocean with more science. So far, the victories I have managed to get on there are, what are they? Domination, cultural, and economic deity victories. Everything else I've been able to get on just the easiest difficulty. See, when I first started out, it was like the easiest difficulty. It seemed difficult, but it was still possible to win, like no matter what. Like, it was difficult at first, getting started and fighting and everything, not knowing what I was doing as much. And then as I played, I was like, oh, this is easy. Now I go on to it, and I could probably win pretty quickly on the easiest difficulty. On deity, however, it's like I know good starting things that I should do. Like, I try and build Stonehenge early to give myself some slack on building something else later. What I did before I started recording, a few minutes before I started recording, I played as the Greeks, and I think it was the Greeks. Yeah, it was the Greeks. What I did was, got a cave with lava. Let's drop down in. But what I did as the Greeks was I decided that I just wanted to give this a try. Oh my god, I can still place torches like that. That's awesome. So I decided that I should, what was I talking? Oh, yeah. I decided first thing I should do is get a warrior army and just move them away from my city and look for other cities to conquer just as soon as the game started, so they had no chance or way of winning if I just conquered them. Like, they weren't going to have archers, they were just going to be warriors versus one warrior army. So it was going to be a really difficult fight for the other side to handle, because they were all off exploring. I'm not that much of an explorer, I can tell you that. That's probably why I don't win as many games. That's ridiculous. It's probably why I don't win as many games as I probably should. But it's because... Are you kidding me? Now I have to do this. It's because I decide not to go exploring, and I end up starting out with not that much money compared to everyone else, or science. But I tried to do some exploration, and guess who I found? I found the Mongols, and guess what I did? I sent my warrior army over there and took their city. Sad part is, they did have more technology than me because they had like 3 cities. The worst part is, it was like the worst city to take over ever. Like, it had 1 research tile, 1 science or trade, and then like 2 hills with mines, so it had like 4 production. Now, if you play the game, you see the problem with that. There is literally no growth. There's no food tiles anywhere, so the city can't grow and gain more. Not only that, but it was just an awful spot. It had 2 hills right next to it, and it's like, you don't want a city with 2 hills right next to it, because if anyone remembers, like, how the Battle of Bunker Hill, like, goes down, if you're an American, you know, Battle of Bunker Hill, that kind of stuff. Oh, shoot! But if you know how... Okay, let me just say it. Oh, dang it. If you are in the middle of a war or fighting, you always have the advantage on high ground. Like, I would play laser tag and I got up to high ground and I just dominated over 2 of my friends that year. But if you get to the high ground, you will most likely win anything. That's an advantage over something. So in this game, when you are at the high ground, it gives you like a 50%. It adds 50% to your attack and everything. So that's a great bonus. And the problem is, well, you have Egypt that just actually moved in next door to the city, and you're like, great, I can't send my troops over now. And Egypt's like, I'm declaring war on you. Oh, my iron. Egypt's like, I'm declaring war on you, and then you're stuck there in a war with Egypt and the Mongols, who aren't fighting each other, they're just fighting you. It's like you're the common enemy, and they're just gonna sit there and pound you from 2 sides. So I got, like, the Mongols on one hill, and I've got the, what are they? The Egyptians on the other, and they're just going at me. This is, oh, it's this place. Just gonna cover that up, because I know there's no diamonds visible at that point. I'm just gonna mine like this. But the fact that I had these 2 groups just hitting me from both sides is a bad idea. I mean, if anyone knows why things like World War II were lost by Hitler, like why the Allies won, it's because Hitler decided he was so great that he should fight a 2-front war. And so he was fighting like a front in Russia, and he was fighting a front in, like, Europe and Africa area. And so he's fighting a 2-front war, which means he has to go up against 2 sides. And Germany, they were not ready for that. So, quick history lesson here. The U.S., Germany actually hoped to, by getting Pearl Harbor bombed with the Japanese, hoping the Japanese would bomb Pearl Harbor and distract the United States, that was supposed to distract them, and because they weren't going to be able to fight on a 2-front war, but the United States had a big enough army to the point where they could fight on a 2-front war, which meant that Hitler, basically, his plan failed, and the United States ended up going against him on that front. So if there's anything you learn, it's get your allies together and fight a 2-front war against people in Civ. Or multiple fronts. I mean, however many fronts you want. I mean, there's only like 5 people in a game, so... Well, in the Revolution. So fight a 4v1. Except you're one of the 4. God, if you were the one, that would suck immensely. One of the other things I learned about a good strategy about that is the way to... I've looked at how the AI play, and I've learned a lot. If you surround a city with your troops, you're basically cutting them off of all the tiles they can use. So they can't use their production tiles because you're standing on them. So they can't get any production done. If you're standing on their food tiles, their cities won't be able to grow. So you want to do things like that. Just go and pick up this gold and stuff. So I also learned to do that, just to make sure that I could hold an advantage to them and prevent them from growing. Because the one thing you may notice that you have to do sometimes if you're in a tight situation against civilization is you have to quickly build some troops as fast as possible before they all run out. I actually got involved in a couple of wars in that game where it ended up being me building like pikeman army while their legion army is like running in. They just happen to have like catapults that got destroyed recently, but those catapults ruined my whole entire pikeman army, and now I've got no army defending, but I've got like one guy, and then every turn I get a new guy, and I just have to wait until one of my other cities can produce a guy to go and wipe out the attack. And you have to hope that they don't grow strong enough to wipe you out in this time. So I've learned a lot. The strategic battles that I've planned and everything, and different strategies I've made up in my mind. I want to hold redstone. I've made up quite a few different strategies in my mind. Like, I have one strategy where you just rush production at the very beginning and build, like, a library, and then you get into getting loads of science, or you could just start from science in the beginning, build loads of cities. I mean, I feel like the way to win is to build multiple cities, constantly building cities, trying to win the game like that, but I just can't do that. I mean, in order to do that, you have to have a pretty good production and a pretty good, what am I thinking of? You have to have a growing population constantly, so you can keep replacing your, not constipation. You don't want to replace your constipation. If you have constipation, you want that to go. You gotta go, for that matter. A lot of the time, probably, too. But one of the things I learned is that it completely distracted me accidentally saying constipation instead of whatever I was saying. Oh, don't have enough room. Oh, well now we have enough room. But rushing, I don't know what I was talking about. But doing the rushing stuff is mainly what I try to do. Like, today I made up the strategy of rushing production early to get higher science, and it kind of backfired. I think the way to go is mainly for a technology victory, which is the deity victory I need, is to, in a way, just to research everything that gives you more science. So, in the very beginning, research like a library and writing, and then get university and just build the library university as quickly as possible. So you can get if you play the game right and get not a cathedral, well, you might need a cathedral to get culture. But if you play the game right and you get, say, I don't know. If you play the game right and you get, let's say, 50 science with your library, then that means that once you get the university, you're going to get 200 science. And you want to get like a great person, buff that up just a little tiny bit.